Jessica Jones episode 3, aka It's Called Whiskey. Like this episode, aside from the fact that they clearly got super mature in this one because there were like a billion sex scenes, it was just like, alright, let's do it. This was definitely a fun episode because we did get to see Killgravve. We actually saw his face, and like I said for my episode 2 review, it was because Jessica was actually there, and we got to see her kind of encounter Killgravve in person, and he actually toyed with her because he could have easily just been like, oh, let me open this door and say anything I want to you, but he took off, and that's really weird. Like, it kind of freaks me out because it's like, this guy can take mind control. You know, he takes it to like a whole new level. Normally it's like a big deal or something. It's not like someone has to really focus or anything. He just says stuff, and it's almost like his power is on, and he can say literally anything, and his words are just true. And it's not like he's trying to make his power work. It's like it just happens, and he can just speak randomly, and it's done. And he let her go. He took off. Like, it's like, oh hey, you know, he looks at the cops because you know, she has to save him. And then he takes off. He sends the 3 family members, which I thought was funny because she just kept getting jumped. It was kind of funny. She's like, I really hope this is just a 3-family house. Like, I really like that scene because it was funny. It was just like, she stops the first person. It's like, all right, that's it. Calm down. Go into like go through like a room and a half. Here's somebody else. Same thing again. Here comes a 3rd person, and she just has to keep knocking everybody out. So I thought that was really funny. Especially, you know, the fact that she does talk about it. Like, I really hope that's it, pretty much, because it was just like, alright, done, good 30 seconds, attack, good 30 seconds, attack again. So, definitely enjoyed that. But it was a really fun episode because we get to see, you know, Luke and Jessica really bond in this one. And there's certain issues with that because this is something, I was too stupid to put this together, but the woman... I should have been able to put this together from the 2nd episode, but I like completely forgot about that picture from the first one, which even in my review, I completely forgot that was even Luke Cage's apartment. I was thinking that was Jessica's apartment, and she was looking at a picture of someone that she knew. So I was just dumb. I completely forgot that was her that was Luke Cage's apartment in the first episode. And when they were doing the flashback of the woman, I just didn't do the connection until this episode, and they flat out talked about it, and I was like, oh, that's, for one, that's not even her apartment where that picture was, and 2, this is the woman they kept showing in episode 2, and she's the one that killed her. And initially I thought it was just the fact that, like, oh, she died in the bus crash, and it was like her and Killgravve, so she was still kind of involved in that, but it was before that, and I was wondering what exactly it meant, because all they kept showing was her, like, flying away, and I'm like, I don't know if that's an actual memory or if that's just how she was seeing things in her head. And then we have it, and we see her do exactly what I figured had to have happened at some point, and she's forced to kill someone that she didn't want to kill. And that's kind of what snapped her out of the mind control. I guess that was the only person she'd done that to, because it like snapped her out of it completely. Like, she took off. She turned around, so I don't know exactly what that meant, but, you know, she was taking off. It was like she did something that she never wanted to do, and she killed this woman. And we still don't know why. It could have been. It seemed like it was totally random because it wasn't like anything was happening. But she did have a cut on her head, so I was wondering what was going on there. And I don't know if this woman had superpowers or what. Like, no one really seemed hurt. Like, the only thing that happened was Jessica had like a little blood on her forehead, but Killgravve seemed like he was totally fine. The woman seemed like nothing had happened to her, so it wasn't like they had a scuffle or anything like that. And they could have just been arguing. That is way louder than I ever would have expected. But they could have just been arguing, I guess. And so it's like, kill her and just, you know, get rid of her because I'm tired of this. And that's exactly what happened. So it was unfortunate. It kind of sucked that that's how it took place. Like, it was just, you know, take care of her. And then she just does like a crazy punch. And that was it. She was done. And then we have, you know, the accident that happens after that. And so Jessica kind of can't, she hasn't said anything so far, but that's the type of thing, is like, it's gonna come out. Like, if she doesn't say it herself, Killgravve will probably force her to say it or something. I mean, he wouldn't stay at Luke Cage's place because he's like the super fancy guy. It's like, oh, dress up really nice, or let me steal this house like you stole from that first family. Then this house was like even crazier. It was super awesome, actually. And all I could think of, which is funny, was like, that place would cost like $1 jillion if it was actually in New York, which It may have been. Either way, I think that place would have cost a ton of money because it was huge. But especially in New York, that would be like so much money. So he only stays at like fancy places. So I think Luke Cage is fine. We also find out that Jessica's being followed, and has been getting followed for a while. Like she was being followed when she was doing like the first episode. So someone's just been looking her up and trying to figure certain things out. Don't know who that is, but that's not good. Like if there's a picture from then and they have the whole house and it's just a ton of pictures there. So it's just like, yeah, see you later. It's the giant thing, which this is in the trailer, and I remember when I first saw that, I was like, that's insane. And clearly the guy's obsessed with her. Like that was definitely clear. And even in the trailer when I saw that, I was like, I think he's a little obsessed. And so there's like the giant picture that's like, that had to have been like, what, 20 pages just to make her face, and then all the other pictures. So really weird and crazy, and it's just like he's toying with her at this point, and it's just insane. And he also goes after her friend, whose name I totally haven't bothered to remember, Trish, thank goodness, because I still have Netflix up right now. I'm actually watching episode 4, but I had to stop just to get this out, because I think something might happen by the end of this. But he sends the cop after Trish, and that was a pretty crazy scene. Like, and I thought it was pretty cool. Like, I really like Trish. The fact that it's like, okay, she said what she said on the radio, and it's like, all right, he called in and said some, obviously it was threatening. It didn't sound threatening to just random people, but it's like, clearly something bad was about to happen. So she's like, all right, let me see some ID. Let me do this. Let me do that. And then she gets like her little stick, and it's like, okay, just in case, I'm going to get my stick and I'll open the door. And she does have to fight. And, unfortunately she would have been killed if Jessica didn't come in and help her. But she was definitely holding her own, which I thought was awesome. So that was really cool to see. That guy just had like a billion different things happening with him. And he gets really messed up by the end because it's like, oh, someone died. And she's like, oh, you're confused. And it's like, just, get out of here. Like, that didn't happen. Just, go home. So that was a crazy little scene. And she had to like, use, fake Trish's death and be like, oh, you killed her, so that he could go and she'd find Killgravve. But it was really good. She also Jessica kind of turned on the sort of drug addict dude and, pushed him into the nurse so that she could get the drugs and everything. And that was kind of messed up. I would have thought she could have just said like, oh, he fell over, because he's high all of the freaking time, and it's not like he's stoned on marijuana. He's on like hard drugs. She could have just been like, oh, he fell. No big deal. But she was like, I don't know, he lunged at her. I was like, that was kind of extreme. She could have just said he fell because he's high. Like, that's it. But I don't know. That was kind of messed up. And, I mean, he doesn't seem like he's going to have as important of a role as I thought he would, because he's so effing high. I didn't know that was his character when I saw him in the trailers. But he's so high, like, he doesn't even really do anything. It's like he's literally, like, he's like real hardcore life. Like, that's just what happens in real life. You are super high. I think the TV thing was in this episode. That may have been in like episode 2. But, I'm talking about like still in the TV and stuff like that. That may have been in the first episode, actually. But he's just high all the time. And it's not like, oh, he's silly, funny high. He's like really messed up, sad high. Like real life, hardcore drugs high. And like, it's not funny. So I don't know what role he's really going to play in the future of the series, but it is interesting for sure. Like, the show, and I mentioned this before, it's very dark. It's way more mature than Daredevil is. Like, that's like pretty hardcore and stuff, but this is just like, this is almost just like real life. Like, she's got superpowers, but it's just real life. Like, it's a dude who's insanely on drugs, and you got a guy who's just mind controlling people and making them do all sorts of weird, crazy stuff. Like, and it's just creepy stuff. It's not even like super bad stuff, but obviously he's bad, so it just makes it even worse. And then he's toying with her and all this other crazy stuff. And now he's got we've got someone who's been kind of cured of the mind control, because he thought he went through with everything, and now it's kind of driving him. And of course, I'm going through episode 4, so I've seen kind of the effects on it. But just that idea is like, that's pretty interesting how they did that. And she had to like fake him jumping off the building and everything. But it was a really nice episode, and I don't know what's going to happen with, some of the threads they kind of introduced, like the fact that, well, they officially say it, they kind of introduced the thread in the second episode with Jessica at least being involved and the death of Luke's wife, and we do find out that this is his wife and not just like his sister or something like that. So we do officially get that answer in this episode. That always comes out because that's just a story. I think it would kind of be a bad story if it just never came out, especially considering it's one of those things where it's like, oh, they're not friends and this and that, which they kind of aren't anyway. By the end of it, it's like they kind of just have to kind of do things their separate ways because she's really freaked out and stuff like that. So he'll be back, I would have to assume. I don't think that was it for Luke Cage and that was our introduction to him. That would be interesting if it was, but I don't know. It was definitely a fun episode. Of course, though, want to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And I want to know what you guys thought about Killgravve in this episode, because this was their confrontation, and he still let her go. Like, he took off, and, we see the crazy picture room and this and that. It's like, I'll see you later and stuff. So he has his set plan to torture her. And now it's even more apparent than it was before. It wasn't just like, oh, he's kind of messing with her. They were not face to face, but they could literally see each other. And he took off when she turned around. So I want to know what you guys think about that. Like, whatever his creepy, weird plan is going to end up being, I want to know what you guys think about that one. So please comment below, let me know. And thanks for watching.